Hi guys, this is Sydney. So today I feel called to share some Ascension messages based on what I have been consolidating all the information since I was in Sydney, Australia. I've been constantly receiving messages and was guided to connect with certain energies in different parts of the world, and they gave me some clarity and confirmation a few days ago of what those were about that I've been receiving and connecting, processing, meditating every single day. And right now I'm in Vietnam, Hanoi. I was guided to come here. So I arrived here a few days ago, and I've been connecting with the energies of the water here, especially the river, the lake that I am nearby right now, that I was guided to come to this particular place to stay. So I've been connecting with the water elements, the water in this part of the region, for more divine feminine activations and like the flow state information. So as I was connecting with the water, I communicated and connected with light language. And this part of the land is very interesting. I was guided to look into a bit of history of the Vietnam, of especially the colonization, since the major theme at this time for the collective, for Gaia's Ascension, is transitioning to the sovereign era, is what is coming for me to share. So for this, we've been preparing in the month of May, April, March, February, like all this time, accumulative processes, like step by step building momentum with astrological support, celestial support. And now we have come to really go in to in Gemini season, shift the way we think, meaning I think 2 or 3 days ago we had the Mercury Cazimi. So the day before that I was connecting with the energy around the lake here, and then the name of the shop was Gemini. So I immediately received the message, but I didn't know what that was about. And then the next day I received the information about the Mercury Cazimi that was taking place. So it's like highlighting this shedding light on our belief system, our thoughts, the what we think, how we communicate. And the importance of that is based on that, these energies, they create physical reality and your energy vibration. So what you think, you become. There's a saying, or you want to be very aware of what you're entertaining in your mind, because that's what is going to manifest. All these ideas is very much in line with that. So we are being called to look into continuously how we are communicating with ourselves, therefore how we are communicating with the world. And with the Mercury Cazimi, with the sun energy, with the mercurial energy, is shedding light on your limiting beliefs, any of the old beliefs, outdated beliefs that you took on in this lifetime. That's also connected to many other lifetimes that you lived through in a linear time sense. But on an energetic sense, everything is taking space or taking place simultaneously right now. So your other so-called version is a human language term that we use, but actually it's not a version, it's a different you. but you just look the same, are playing in different timelines, in different time periods, and everything's going on simultaneously. And right now in this moment, it's all interconnected. As you shift, everything shifts. So I don't know why I'm being called to share this a little bit at the beginning, but I'm going to let my intuition guide me through. So right now we are working heavily with the word that is coming is dealing with your own limiting beliefs that you took on. For example, especially in this lifetime, earlier part of our lives, your parents' way of perceiving the world and how they talk and what they believed in affected the children so much. We call it conditioning, right? So you're being called to look into those further, and with this Kazemi shedding light on this aspect even more so, you're going to use your awareness, meaning awareness as in shedding light in a symbolic sense, and then bringing all those things to the surface once again, and so that you could release them. So whatever that you are aware, you are releasing them. And once you're aware, you are releasing. But if you are repeating, that means you're choosing the same over and over. You see what I mean? So awareness is one thing. So that's why it's so important to practice awareness and observance, detachment, so that you can observe what's going on inside you, the way you believe that certain things are limiting, and you can't do that, or you're not supposed to do that, or it's going to be very difficult for you to do that, it's going to be very hard for you to do that. These languages that you've been conditioned, meaning you constantly heard from your parents or people around you, that shaped, that you start to take on. And now, for example, another thing is what is coming is like gaslighting. So your parents could have gaslit you a lot of the times for their ego, and it created a certain level of self-doubt within you. And that became a belief system for you, constantly doubting yourself, whether you deserve that, whether you are able, whether you are capable, or whether what you are feeling is true, whether what you are sensing, intuiting is right, doubting yourself, gaslighting your own self, right? So like these things are the main, I would say, the topic is what is coming as the word topic that one may meander is the coming word that is coming, meander right now, to navigate through at this time in the Gemini season very heavily. And that's connected to reclaiming your sovereign power within, meaning we say, take whatever that you resonate and leave what doesn't. The deeper meaning and purpose behind that is that you are the one choosing what is for you, meaning it is tied to the idea of permission. So in society, the whole structure, the whole system, the whole culture is based on this authority over the hierarchical power, the centralized power, right? And the sovereignty is in the opposition of that, the decentralized, the sovereign individuals, right? So we are in this structure, and when we are in this structure, what we take on a subconscious level as a belief system is permission. So we are constantly asking for permission, whether I am doing right, whether I should do this, whether I am free to do that. You see, that means we are giving our power away. And we've been taught that certain authority figures or institutions hold more knowledge, and they know what is best for you instead of you. You see that dynamic, that structure, the centralized power. So for example, like the school systems were created in the first place to create government workers in the industrial era. So everyone, in a lot of cultures, children wear a uniform. I grew up wearing uniform for 2 years when I was in middle school in Korea before going to US. So uniform meaning everyone is the same, and you're put in a classroom, and there's authority figure called teachers, and then they are the one marking you, grading you, right? Evaluating you, whether you're A, B, C, D, E. Like in a conveyor belt, you're A, you move there, you're B, you see, that's where the comparison starts to build, the conditioning of the comparison, the A and the B, B and the C. And the A is better than the B, B is better than C. And if you're F, you're a failure. That's what it stands for, F. You see, just by sharing this, when you in the mark you see F, that's conditioning in and of itself, which represents failure. You see what I mean? So it's been conditioning. It's very heavily conditioned and deeply conditioned. So we've been working with this system, and then this created comparison, and then started to create competition, and this started to create this idea of lack, limitation, right? If I'm C, I'm not enough. If I'm B, I'm still not enough. If I'm A, but my parents, I was told that I need to get A plus. If you've been grown up in that household with that conditioning that you get A or A minus, you're gonna be mad because you didn't get A plus. Because A plus is only the permission that you're giving yourself that you are enough. You see what I mean? That's how it's tied. And then with this system, you start to compete with your peers. So the friendship disappears. Your friends could become your enemies. Your allies could become your enemies, which is very much a survival environment, right? You never know who can screw you up, who can stab you in the back, who's trying to win you over. The constant subconscious anxiety that we've been living under, you see? And also this feeling superior and inferior. That's creating jealousy, envy, hatred, and anger. And deep down, it created self-guilt and shame for not being A, or not being my friend who's like an A student, who's always being praised by teachers and adults around. And I'm always receiving shame and criticism because I'm always getting C's and B's or D's and F's, however it is. Or now with the system, you have taken on that belief system. Now, without these people around criticizing, evaluating, comparing you, you are doing that to yourself. You are self-criticizing, self-correcting, self-judging, self-hating, self-shaming, self-guilting. You see, that's how it works. the outside environment shapes the inner world. So without you realizing, you start to take that on, and now you're automatically doing it. That's the whole purpose of the centralized system. That's what they want people to do. They don't want people to be free. They don't want people to be sovereign. They don't want people to think for themselves. They don't want people to be an independent thinker. You see what I mean? So with this institutionalization from a very early age, nursery school, preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, university, college, and then work and work and work and work until we die, right? And so that's the whole system since that's been built in the age of darkness. Another experimentation with the industrial and modern era right now that we're living in, the contemporary era. And before it was a different system, right? Roman times, there was a different system. In other times, there was different system, but it was all hierarchical power, centralized system. Now we're taking a huge shift, right? That's why everyone is here. And we are so into so-called ascension, right? And with the idea of ascension, everyone has their own unique interpretation. Immediately when they hear the word ascension, they have different images playing out in their own heads based on the level of consciousness or conditioning that they're agreeing with at this moment, right? So that's why we say take whatever resonates and leave what doesn't, is because basically everything is like if you give permission to that, you're giving power to it. So very common thing is they start to it's really interesting. The word that is coming from Source and Gaia is the word manufacture. So they start to manufacture doctors, teachers, lawyers from the production of schools. It is what is coming. So they've been trained, they've been programmed. So for example, and then they were programmed to be seen as higher, above, superior. So that's why the parents were like, oh, you know, you should be a doctor when you grow up. It's good to marry a lawyer, marry a doctor, you know, that your life is guaranteed. Or like a professor, all these like titles, right? Highly educated, so-called. The more they are being programmed, like MBA schools, very highly programming curriculums. So when I look back in my university days, I studied business and psychology. And I went to university in Korea after graduating from high school in US. And in Korea, you have to choose your major when you enter. You cannot change it. So I remember like I didn't know what I wanted to study. And I was never a math person or business person, or like I was more like a literature, like art. So I thought about, okay, should I major in English? But that didn't really like, it was a little bit too boring for me. Should I study like media and communication, mass communication? I was like, but that's too limiting. I may not like it. And then I went to a huge library in the city center, and I started to go through different sections for literature, for mass media, and what they're doing in this particular topics. And then I went to the business section, and it was very interesting. They had so many different branches, like marketing, sales, some communication, organizational theory, and then economics, which I wasn't interested in, or like accounting, all these like areas. I was like more drawn to like the social aspect of how things were working. So, okay, if I choose business, then I can branch out into different things like marketing or organizational theory, which I was more interested in at the time. But I was concerned that I'm not really good with math, and I asked one of my uncles who was an accountant and whether it's really difficult to study accounting. And then he said it's just adding numbers and subtracting numbers. So it's not that complicated. So that gave me hope. So I chose business. And then when I studied accounting, I just didn't get it. I just didn't, my brain didn't get it. For me, how I prefer to acquire information is through practical matters. So it was only after started to work at a company, I started to get more interested in how the system works in comparison to how the practical things are related to certain things, so I could figure it out, not through like theories. For example, for me, that's how it worked. So I remember I really struggled with my accounting classes. That was like a kind of a mandatory class. And I don't know, like I just passed the bare minimum. And I never imagined that I would be working at a bank. And later doing like credit analysis. But then when I imagined myself being a credit analyst for the next 10 years, it depressed me so much that that's when I decided to prepare myself for graduate school and study something that I really love and take it from there. Because at the time, I just believed that if I do something that I love, for some reason I will be supported and it will be connected to something, and I could always return to like the business world. It's all going to be connected if I follow my heart. And that was kind of like, I don't know where it came from, but that was the thing. So but there's a lot of complications within the process, and up until I quit my job at the bank to go study contemporary art in London. But it was all divinely orchestrated, because when I look back, my entire life was one big giant initiation and series of death and rebirth, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. So why did I start sharing this? Okay, so the sovereignty. So I remember it's like all I learned in school and all I was doing throughout my so-called corporate jobs was to manipulate people, was to play with this power play, do this power play, and then win and dominate. And when I realized that, wow, that's how we've been programmed. And one of my siblings did an MBA in US, and she worked at Amazon. So I used to visit Seattle quite often, and I had a chance to go into their office, like where there's like all this like lounge area where guests are allowed, and also the cafeteria. And I didn't visit the Google campus or the Google office, but from what the guidance source had me see, like they created the whole entire like campus like for the corporate workers. So it's another big prison that they have created. There's cafeteria, there's this and that, and it seems like they are giving them some freedom. You know, you can bring your dogs to work and you can go in and out freely, you can work from home, but it's your mind, your energy, everything is tied to the system. It's like a kind of, it's like they're playing with you. They're playing that, oh, we are giving you this freedom, but it's not really freedom. You're bound, you are enslaving. And when you go there, they feed you. Everything is for free for employees, like this organic section, salad, and this whole food, and this and that. And I think from what I saw on TV, like the Google office, like in, I think in California or somewhere, like they have this whole section and they're making, and what they're feeding is like ice creams and all this like sweet stuff and coffees, and it's like a vicious cycle. They're putting you in there, and that's a lot of the systems right now. In Korea it's the same. It's like we care for your well-being, but actually when you really look into it, or when you wake up, you start to notice, hell no. They don't care about you. They don't want you to be free. They need you to feed their power. They need you to dominate the world. You see? And they have you believe in this illusion, this belief system, that if you climb the ladder, if you become this, if you become that, if you work for a company for several years, you're going to get this stock that's going to amount to this money. You can retire early, or you can do this. But when I was there in Seattle, it looked like a whole giant campus, expensive campus. All the condos nearby were like, there were employees. It was just very interesting. I don't know about now, but back then in 2016, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, like before COVID, I was there quite a bit. So that was a very interesting. And then when you go to the top where the lounge is for a lot of the condos nearby, you see all this like Amazon employees. They're not working from office, they're working from the top of the building of their apartment buildings or the condos. It was very interesting for me to observe everything as an outsider, and also all my life I've been observing a lot of different things and noticing. So even though there is no uniform, you start to, it's like a kind of, there's a sort of like a uniform, like a certain brands, certain clothes that you wear, like the headphones and iPods, and it was just really interesting for me. And then one time, you get on the elevator, and everyone has a dog there. Everyone, it seemed like. And you get on the elevator, and one time we got on the elevator and there were all Amazon employees or like Microsoft, or like all these companies there. And this lady who looked like in the, like, I don't know, like maybe 50s, 60s, came in, said, good morning everyone, and then she got on the elevator, and then nobody said nothing, and they were just like blank face, not giving anything, not interacting, smiling. That's how the energy was like in that area. they're just working for the money. They're like vacationing it out. You hear conversation about stock options, where like how, you know, they're thinking of moving to like Google or different like tech companies, and exploring or exploiting opportunities, right, for more money. Or they're constantly complaining, talking about the conflicts at work, and the people and their superiors, so-called, their bosses. And the system, from what I learned a little bit there, is really critically based on evaluation. And so they say like, oh, the alphas are there and they're fighting there once again. And it's like a battlefield, and everywhere it's been a battlefield. And when I look back to all these different jobs that I worked, it was a constant battlefield. It wasn't that we didn't have the guns and the knives and killing people physically, but it was all like doing it psychologically now, mentally, emotionally, killing each other, spreading these dark energies around. That was the corporate culture. It's a survivor environment. So in this environment, in this culture and structure, we start to not connect with joy. We start to connect with more pleasure, meaning vacationing, dining out, buying houses, right? If you have like these like jobs, or you move to this location, and shopping for luxury goods, and like that's the kind of the very similar lifestyle. But when you go inside people's conversations, they're stressed, they're anxious, they're stressed out. And Lao Tzu said, we are the state of ease, right? The natural state is ease. But that means we're not in a natural state constantly. That's why we get sick. And there is a saying in Korea, 병 주고 약 주고, meaning we say like, are you kidding me? You're giving me disease and now you're giving me medicine? Are you kidding me? Like that's kind of how the term is used when someone's like playing you. So that's like what's been coming for months. That the whole system, the whole structure, the whole environment, the whole conditioning is giving you sickness, disease, and then giving you the cure and solutions. But it's all fake. And they talk about your well-being, but they don't. You see how the whole point is built on deception. So that's why we've been heavily working with the idea of deception from within, so that you wake yourself up to notice the deception in the system that you didn't realize that you were living and constantly being conditioned and programmed with. When you see commercials, it's like, this is the magical cure for you. We got all the solutions. And I am the doctor, I have the certification, I am certified with this and this and this and this, and I know this and this and this and this, meaning I know better than you. And so I have all the solutions, meaning another idea of savior, right? Creating codependent relationship. I am the savior. Before it was Jesus that created the manipulative idea of Jesus from the religious context. Now it's like this. and you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. If you do this, you're going to be healthier. If you do this, you're going to get rid of your wrinkles. You're going to look 20 years younger than your age, right? If you eat this, you're going to have more energy. If you follow my 6 something formula, you're going to meet the love of your life and have this dream family that you've always desired. It's here. Like, I have the solution for you, right? That's the system. And with the religion, okay, if you want to go to heaven, if you want to be a good person, if you want to be devoted to God, you gotta pray 5 times a day, looking to the sun, or you have to be in this exact direction. You gotta do this. You gotta go to church every Sunday. You gotta do this and that. If you don't, you are bad. You are to be punished. You are going to hell. You see all this, so much fear and so much guilt and shame if you don't do that. That's all limitation, right? Minding you, imprisoning you without us realizing. We've been living in this society. You go to a dentist and dentist says you need to have a surgery. If you don't, you're going to lose this. And so you just listen and you do the surgery, and then something goes wrong. And what do you do before big surgery? You sign that all your responsibilities lie on you, not the doctor, not the ones who said this is what you should do. It's the you who need to take responsibility if something goes wrong. And this is why we have insurance companies now, right? The system created something called insurance, security companies, to back you up in case it falls on your lap and then you don't know what to do with it. You see the whole system, how it's running, for example, right? And so we've been so heavily conditioned. And also with parents, if you do this, you're going to be well. If you follow what I say, if you listen, listen that you should go to this school, you should marry this person, you should get this job, then you're going to be guaranteed that it's going to be well in the end. That's what they're saying, but it's all from their ego, basically. And then when something goes wrong, you end up getting a divorce, you're not happy in a relationship, or you're in a job that stresses you out, you start to get sick. You start to what? Blame your parents, or blame the situation, blame people who made you choose that. You see how that works? But when you start to wake up, you start to see, I was the one who was choosing everything, despite they were imposing their own agenda on me. I chose to agree. You see what I mean? You chose to agree with the system. You chose to agree with that authoritative voices outside. You chose to agree to your parents' opinions. You chose to agree with someone else's opinions. And you chose that. You go to a shop and you don't know. And then the sharp clerk comes in. Oh, let me recommend you this and this and this and this and this. And if they sense that you feel like, if they sense that they feel like you don't know anything, you are to be exploited. You are to be manipulated easily. You see what I mean? That's how the current society is. I'm not saying not everyone is like that, but a lot of the people are like that because of the conditioning, of the programming. That's what they learn as a salesperson. They learn to sell. They learn to make you buy stuff. They learn to sell you more expensive things. They learn to sell more things. You see what I mean? And we teach this in business schools, and their strategies and tactics and psychologists that they play with, that they study to manipulate constantly. You see? So that's why it's very important to do your own independent research, and always I emphasize, do your own research and know yourself. In this day and age, if you don't know who you are, there are a lot of people who wants to take claim over you, control over you, power over you, right? This is what is best for you. I have all the solutions. I have all the right connections. I have all this. I'm doing this like you, right? So you create this false bond, illusion. It's a codependent energy that they're manipulating with. And this goes on a scale of the societal level, the institutional, down to now personal level, personal relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, family relationships. This codependency, right? This idea of permission, that you don't know anything, so you just follow. That's how they programmed and trained you to be. So if you say no to this, if you are stepping outside of this, you're going to make a lot of people mad. You're going to make a lot of people upset. You're going to make people what is it? Project, lash out, also blame, right? Because why? They don't have control over you. You decide for yourself. You see what I mean? Once you start to decide for yourself, a lot of people are not going to be happy around you, including your family members, including your parents, including your so-called best friends. So I'm sharing this not to be like cynical about it, but these are the facts. You see, from a neutral standpoint, we're not going into like being cynical and people are evil, the system's evil, this is creating so much fear. But like the energy here that I'm intending and sharing is from a neutral perspective. Let's look at the facts. And when you look at the facts, you can observe, you can discern better these facts. Just observe, start to notice how people play. So all my life I've been accumulating information of how people betray each other, how people hate each other, how people create jealousies, envies, how people talk behind someone's backs, how people ganging on someone, how people bully others, how people get angry, how people blame others, how people start to complain, how people try to take power over you through anger, through fear, how people gaslight, right? How people make you doubt yourself, how people make you feel like you need to impress other people, to please other people, right? I had to play all this game. For example, like for myself, I had to play all these games, collect data, how psychology works on people and on myself as well, how things work internally and how it's expressed outwardly. And also by living through it, how deep this programming is and how not so easy. It takes a lot of your strength. That's why you have to give constant self-kindness, compassion, generosity. Otherwise, you will go back to the old ways of constantly criticizing you, trying to correct you or correct people around you, right? And also the feeling of nostalgia, the memories coming up. And you need to cut cords with people, you need to detach, you need to walk away from certain people, situations, and relationships, or all of them together. How the emotional stuff works on a subtle level. And you can only learn these things through experience. It's not through words, it's not through books, it's not through someone's stories. You go through it with your own experience. So in Korea, we have the saying, 백문이 불여일견. So it's like no matter how many thousand words that you hear, the stories that you hear, you learn, it's not better than you experiencing once. So it's like this, you look at all these travel shows on TV, you travel to Africa, you travel to this place, that place through TV. It's totally different from you being in that place. Everything is completely different. So that's like kind of an experience. So that's why in line, you don't want to listen to people who didn't walk the path, who just talk the talk. You don't want to listen to them because they're good at talking. They're good at like, I know this, I know that. In theory, I learned this. But it's very different from people who walk the path. They may not talk as much, for example, like that. So these things are coming up, and these things are tied to our the limiting beliefs that we have to drop constantly. And there are certain things that may come up at this time as well. What's limiting you? What's making you feel imprisoned, or what's locking you up? And we say, it's not someone, but it's you. It's because of this conditioning. We receive this conditioning early on, and later what we end up doing, or the programming is like you run your own program later. It's like a computer coding, right? You put in certain codes and programming so that later it runs on and by itself. And that's what we are doing, running on its own. So that's why we get reactive, we do something on autopilot, right? We do things compulsively, and all sorts of that. So now we've been reviewing all these codes. All these codes have been running, and like, I don't want to run this program anymore. You see, it's an analogy that is coming. I don't want to run this program. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna code in new programs. That's what we are doing right now. So you're putting in new program, and you are in this process of new coding. And it takes a while, just like the old programming. It took years to condition you to believe in a certain way. So you start to do that to yourself. You see, criticize, compare, compete, and then hate, shame, guilt, and fear, doubt yourself within. You see what I mean? So that inner is the outer, so you start to project that outwardly, and that's creating the world outside in lower vibration. You see how? So they're hands off. The centralized powers are hands off once they created the system and done the first part of the coding. Now people are running on its own after years of schooling, years of this and programming in the corporate culture. You start to become a beast fighter, spreading hatred, spreading this, and then now, because that's not our natural state, what they're doing is they have studied psychology, so they're manipulating psychology of people, selling the idea of peace, selling the idea of harmony, selling the idea of joy, selling the idea of pleasantness, selling this idea that we are seeking because we are constantly stressed out so much, living with so much anxiety. I don't know how I'm gonna live after, if I quit my job, if I don't do this, if I say no to this, if I follow my heart, right? We don't know. There's no guarantee. There's no insurance company guaranteeing you on your dreams, on your heart's desires. You see, that's what we've been programmed with. Everything is based on logic, what's backed up, the idea of security, all limitation. And the heart space is the space of the unknown. And what does unknown represent? Unknown represents infinite possibilities. You see? When you don't know anything, anything is possible. You see? Anything is possible. Once you start to know, you start to collect. Once you start to experience pleasure, you start to collect, and you go for the same over and over, or you think this, you start to do that. Here, there's another so-called, in human language, or symbolically saying, another brain here that we are being guided to connect to, move to the sovereign era, to connect with joy. And when we connect with joy, that's the abundance. I'm enjoying my life. I'm having fun. I feel alive. I'm connected to myself. I'm noticing my breath. Taking a moment. Just now, I notice that I'm breathing. That's awareness. That's presence. And in this moment, I can observe what's going around. And the state of observance or state of awareness is not a state of thinking. You see? But you are awake. You see what I mean? You're not thinking. You are observing and aware, and you are awake to everything. You look at the system, you look at the BS, you look at the deceptions, you look at the plays, you look at old programmings, and it goes to the outside world, and as well as your inside system as well, that you started to take on. And that just like anything can be reprogrammed, if you don't like what you're playing out right now, if you don't like what you're feeling right now, if you don't like how your life is right now, if you don't like the way you, or patterns of thoughts and belief systems right now, you can reprogram anytime. but it just takes a bit of work, and that's why it requires so much of your patience, meaning love. Patience is another word for love, unconditional love. I am here for you, always, no matter, meaning no conditions attached. You are free. So you're free to explore, you're free to learn again, you're free to fall down again, back up again. You're free to do this again. But the entire time, I'm watching over you, I'm standing by you. You see? And that's devotion, not the devotion like you go to the gym 5 times a week to get to a certain body type. You only eat protein shakes to get bigger muscles, to win the muscle competition. It's screwing up all our kidneys and livers, all this whey proteins and all these protein bars, now protein this, protein that. They've been manipulating, right? It messes up all the kidneys, liver, the detox area, detoxification center. Everything gets blocked. And then what they have you do is, if you eat this, if you put on this, you're going to look younger. So we start to put on more chemicals. Sunscreen is a very big one, major one right now at this moment. Everything sunscreen. Why are we avoiding the sun so much? Fearing the sun so much? It's all the programming over the years. If you don't do sunscreening, you're gonna get these like spots, and you're going to get skin cancer, you're gonna get this, and you're gonna get that. And the information about the sun, the nutrients from the sun, the information from the sun, nobody talks about it. It's a secret that you should know. Why? Because they don't want you to be free. They want you to be tied to something. And that live in constant anxiety. Oh my God, I missed one step of my skincare. Oh my God, I forgot my sunscreen. Oh my God, I forgot this. Oh my God, I skipped my work. The workout. Oh my God, I did this. Oh my God, I didn't clean my blah. It's a constant stress, constant anxiety that they have us run after. That's why it's so hard to just pause and rest. And they're like, oh my God, we need to go buy this vacation before it runs out. It runs out in 2 days. The deal is running out. The sale is running out on 2 days, 3 days. I better catch that, chase that, right? While it's cheap. And everything is now priced, right? So we need more money to buy toilet paper. We stop using the leaves to use as our toilet paper, or we stop using the leaf as the plate of our food. We started to create different stuff, and now it's like that's the better thing, that's the best thing. And now we stop eating and in Korea, everyone is like, the younger generation is addicted to Coca-Cola, Coke Zero, because it's 0 sugar, and with this like what is it, like the sparkling, they feel like it's digesting all the food, and once they get addicted, they can stop drinking the Coke. That's the society is now. Instead of drinking water, instead of getting the water from nature, we now have to buy water from plastic bottles, right? I'm just like sharing these facts out. And the purpose behind me sharing all this, what's going on in our society at this right time that we are living, is not because we need to fear, we need to hate. I still use a lot of plastics. I still, I need to buy water, I need to buy toilet papers, I need to do this and do that. But I'm constantly thinking about how can we do this in a different way? How can I utilize this more? And I observe, and how can we make this? And I was just walking down the street the other day, I saw these leaves and I touched them, it's very soft. I was thinking about picking them up and using them as the toilet paper after washing, you see. And nowadays, all this like bamboo, lyocell, all this, what is like new fabrics that they say is from nature derived, plant-based. They don't talk about how they process this. In the process that use ton of chemicals. You see what I mean? Deception, another deception. And they're marketing as 100% natural. Right? And you go to this like really high-end luxury brands clothing shop and you check the materials that they're making this clothes out of. It's all chemicals, polyester, all this and that. No wonder we are constantly stressing. We're not on a physical level as well. We're not breathing. Our skin is not breathing well. We get sick. We get hormonal imbalance. It's a huge thing right now, right? From all the, what is it? Lululemon, all these products, right? The sportswear, when we sweat, all the polyesters, and I also lived through that era, not knowing, not realizing, and chasing after wearing those things, right, without realizing how it's impacting. And then while you're putting on chemicals all over and wearing chemicals all over, they're selling you that if you eat this, you're going to have more magnesium, you're going to have more vitamin C, B, A, K, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. I don't know, all this. You're going to get minerals, right? They don't talk about how they're made, how they're processed, where they're from, really. And we pay for these things. Or if you can pay for that, you start to feel like you're behind, you're missing out, and you're not enough because you're not making enough money to get these products. And then you start to compare, like the A, B, C, D, the people who seem to buy these stuff and you can't buy. You feel the gap, the limitation, the lack, you see? Then you start to compete with your friends, with your peer, with your family members. You start to hate them. Directly, indirectly, outwardly, secretly, however it is, or all together. That's the energy. That's constantly putting people in limitation, not in sovereignty. The permission of your life is not within you. It's constantly outside of you. And this is taking place on a very subtle psychological level. So that's why in this Gemini Mercury season, and we just had the Mercury Kazemi for that purpose, particularly is what I guided to share, what I'm guided to share right now, to look into this area. So where you're giving permission to right now. And a lot of times we give permission to others out of codependency, or that's the pattern, the programming that's running on autopilot, meaning it's easier for you because you don't have to do the work, you don't have to do the research, you don't have to experience it. It's all already scientifically or lab proven authorized by these institutions, certified by these organizations already. It's easier for you. That's how they're selling, right? So the quick fixes, the easy fixes, the codependent energies like manipulating others to do the things for you. And the idea of time comes in, of the idea of efficiency, that it's going to save you more time, it's going to save you more energy to do other things. Other things what? Work for other centralized power once again. So they're not telling you these things, it's all deceptions, what's going on. And to be more exact, the people who are in these layers, working in these organizations, they're heavily programmed. So they're running this on autopilot. I remember when I was in Sydney, just on like the second day, I went to the shop, and there's like an automatic you go into, and hi, how are you? It's just like saying hi, but it's like an automatic cultural thing. And then I wasn't used to like that, so I was like saying hello, and then she said good, because it's automatic for her. She didn't listen to what I was saying and responding. You see, I said hello, but she responded good, because her programming is, she's not conscious, she's not aware. And so she just said, hi, how are you? Because usually people say, I'm good. She goes, good. You see what I mean? When we are not aware, when we are not conscious, these programs run you. You see? These programs run you. You give permission to these programmings, to these conditionings. You see what I mean? So you end up complaining when something goes wrong. That's why there's like a customer service center, call center, where people are calling to complain. Blah, 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 right? And the people who receive these complaints, they get stressed out as well. And they need to process it somewhere. They talk to their friends, family members, their lovers about their problems, what happened, and how these people were mean to me, and how it was horrible. What we're sharing with energy is all negativity, lower vibrations, hatred, judgments. It's on autopilot. And then what? This is not our natural state, so we're not going to feel comfortable or in balance. So they're selling you now. They make you sick, and now they give you the medicine, just like in the Korean saying, 병 주고 약 주고. Are you kidding me? You're playing with me, right? Now they make you sit and like, oh, we have the sale on for the New Year, the Christmas sale, all this sale, that sale, and so you better buy this until this, before it ends. And you go run, or you go on vacation, another escape, chasing after pleasures, to buy joy, to buy peace to buy whatever, right? Everything needs to be bought in the system here. But we don't realize this when we are ran on autopilot. And that's why the consciousness is so important. Just start with your breath. In a cafe, everyone's looking at the phone. Just take a moment. You're not doing anything. You don't need to. You don't need to look like you're doing something. You just sit. Start to notice you breathing. Start to lean back. And just look at the tree. And not think. You don't need to think. Just look at the tree. And you don't need to look like you're doing something. You don't need to look like you're working or you're talking to someone, or you're looking at your phone. You can just stare at a tree. You can just look at the cup. And then in that moment of silence, you are aware. So basically, awareness simply means all the stimulants outside, your focus of your mind, the mental energy is outside. What's going on, because on a subconscious level, we lived in this programming. We needed to know in order to survive, in order to what's going on in this other village, in this household next door, the gossips, so that I can better prepare myself, meaning I can control, meaning it's constantly outwardly. Now we are moving into the divine feminine, the flow state, the heart-based, heart-led life, living, harmony, peace, joy, abundance. You sit in that moment, not having the subconscious pressure to constantly be aware of how others are perceiving you or are going to perceive you. That's based on the programming. To break out of that, do something opposite. If you're afraid of other people judging what you're doing, do the exact opposite and feel that fear. And when you feel that fear or anxiety coming up, you're going to be more aware of this hidden, stored fear, anxiety, stress within you to come out. You see how that you can reverse engineer that? Oh, this is where I'm feeling fear. This is why I'm feeling anxiety and stress. And now I'm aware, meaning your energy is inward focus. Awareness simply is, your energy is inward focus. And when you are inward focus, your energy is aligned. It's not scattered outside. You see what I mean? It's not all over the place. So you're looking this and this and this, you're confused, you're thinking, and now you can simply observe. Observe your emotions, observe the surroundings. So if you're in the stage of healing or healing your nervous system, all this like emotional stuff, that's what you can do. Doing the exact opposite and allowing these stored, hidden emotions to come out so you can better recognize them and then discover more about yourself. Release. So that's in line with do what you're afraid of. That's going to help you meet your fear. Everything's an illusion. The more you do it, it gets better, right? Just like physical training. You cannot lift, but now you do this every day, And after a week, a little bit higher. After 2 weeks, a little bit more higher. After a month, you can lift one up. So just like that, emotionally as well. If you do something that's opposite, that's like the symbolic way of reprogramming or reverse programming things for you. So all these hidden codes that you need to reprogram, they're going to show up. They're going to come up, right? Or if you've worked on a certain level, you'll obtain a certain level of equilibrium, neutrality within your energy field and consciousness. Then you can just take a moment. Just stare at the tree. There's animal or birds, or you start to hear the birds or the sounds of the nature. And in that moment, you will start to feel it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. And you're not just saying it, you're not forcing yourself to feel that by saying it, but you're really going to start to feel that. Oh my God, this moment right now is so beautiful, amazingly beautiful. And you're just going to feel that. And in that moment, your energy body, your energy is sitting in the reality of abundance. And when you hold that, you start to match physical reality to that of that energy that you hold within. The world around you feels abundant. And like a magnet, like attracts like, you start to attract people, situations, things that are of the same resonance. That's why we say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If something does not resonate with you, sit with you well, or something you feel that's you don't want to align with, any negative energies, leave. Right? And I'm saying leave, and you can just do it, but the process is not that simple, because there are many complexities that we were working on to achieve this past programming. To come back to simplicity, we need to go through that same process a little bit. But that doesn't mean it's not impossible. And that's why the complexity can make you feel a little bit daunting, overwhelming, feeling like you're not making progress. But that's why I keep saying, do not give up, do not give up, continue, continue. You're in the right place at the right time. Continue to keep your mind optimistic. Continue to set your sight higher on a bigger picture of where you're heading, because there are so many distractions, energies that you will have to deal with. That's inevitable. That's just part of the process, you see? That's why we are supporting each other. And it's not because I learned this from a book. I had to live through this, right? How these distractions work, how these energies work. And there are certain things that I also have to continuously work on every day to stay centered, or there's energies coming in that is trying to distract, especially when someone is, keep saying, leveling up in their energy field. And this is, once you start to notice, it's really interesting. This whole game is like a holographic, it's like a cyber game. some people show up, certain things happen, and when you release that energy, when you free yourself from that, things shift, you start to notice, and it's all just, it's a very interesting game of illusory reality is what is coming. But that's what I'm going to share. So at this time, what I've been receiving was the constant energy of certain parts of the world, especially like South America, Africa, India. So especially Peru, and also China, Russia, Mongolia, that region, and then Peru, Brazil, Argentina, that region, and then India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, that region, and then like the Madagascar and around that region, and also the Oceanic Ocean area near Australia, all these little islands like Samoa, Vanuatu, and Solomon Islands, all these areas. There are a lot of different triangle pyramid points on Gaia have what I've been connected to or receiving, that I received the clarity confirmation of just a few days ago. They had me connect with all these different energies. Also like in Europe, where the Alps is, the Matterhorn, the Switzerland, that area, Italy, like all that Alps area, France. Also Romania, Hungary, Austria, Turkey, all this, like there are all these energy points, and Egypt, energy of Egypt has been coming up very, very strongly the past month. It's about the pyramid energy. That's the power structure that we've been living under, the power grid within the earth grid. That's connected to the rainbow bridge. So just 2 days ago, and when I was in Sydney, I kept seeing a lot of rainbows in my third eye during my sleep time. I saw 2 rainbow portals, one rainbow portals and another ring of rainbows as a portal when I was in Sydney about like 2 weeks ago. And just a couple of days ago, I started to see rainbow, like in my sleep time, in my consciousness. So this rainbow bridge energy is very much active right now. That we are working heavily with the power structure, the power over, now moving into power within. So that as individuals work on this power within, reclaiming the sovereignty within, not just saying it, but really living it, embodying the energy is very crucial, is what I'm going to share. Because we talk about reclaiming our sovereignty, reclaiming this, but our actions may not match that, or energy might not match that. So more than saying, more than words, it's important to act. It's important to review. It's important to go in, meaning go aware, meaning go conscious. So the key right now is to go in and review these limiting beliefs. That is all tied to the idea of power over, the hierarchical power. And once we start to reactivate or reprogram these earth grades, start to reverse the energies, and that's also going to help Gaia's ascension, is what I'm going to share. You see how everyone is playing a part in Gaia's ascension. And a lot of people have this idea that I'm going to benefit off of Gaia's ascension. I'm going to benefit off of this spiritual community. I'm going to benefit off of this spiritual group, doing this group meditation. If you have that mentality, it's something that you need to review. I'm not here to penalize or criticize, but just observe. Look at the facts without going into guilt, shame, doubt, or criticism, or labeling, or comparison. Just look at the facts. If you're doing that, then reverse the programming that I intend to contribute. You see, I intend to contribute. Why? Because you're capable, because you're powerful. But right now, you don't believe that you are powerful. You don't believe that you are capable because you don't remember fully who you are yet. You see what I mean? You're not fully awake yet, or you're still in that programming stage. So that's why we are constantly reminding you are powerful, how powerful you are, the power within, the sovereignty within, right? But we're going to keep doing that until someone gathers strength. That's why we are here all together. That's why I'm here supporting. And I've been supported with this energy as well. People, situations, things reminding how powerful I am, who I really am, right? It's been that journey. So, you have that energy to contribute, okay, to society, to rebuild, to bring in this consciousness. You can do this in the midst of you going through dark night of the soul, so-called, or whatever healing that you are doing. You can do this simultaneously. You can heal and you can also contribute at the same time. It's not that you need to reach a certain point. Yes, of course, you will master certain things. You will be a master at a certain level after years of doing all the work behind the scenes, when nobody was watching, when nobody was noticing, nobody believed you, right? In silence, you were doing all this work, and now you're at this point to be able to help other people better because you lived through it, not because you learn by the book. You see, it's truly yours. So another message that came just 2 days ago was the word humanity and soul specifically. So this morning I received that it's tied to the soul evolution journey right now, the human evolution journey that we are going through at this time is what is coming, that is tied to this like limiting, releasing this idea of limitations, the concept of limitations. And basically these limits create negativity, all sorts of negativity. So we are on this soul evolution path. Individually, the souls are evolving. On a collective level, souls are evolving. And another message that I received a couple of days ago, was it a couple of days ago, yesterday or something, when I got to Hanoi, was the breaking down of the Hollywood energy in regards to this hierarchical, superior, inferior power. With this internet and all these things has created a platform for sovereign era at a very early stage right now. For example, you could be anybody and you could have your own channel and share your knowledge, wisdom, help people. And now we call that influencer, right? And a lot of these ideas of influencer right now has also been going to a different direction, meaning because we still have that lower consciousness that is still playing out in the collective. that the numbers game, right? That when all these younger generations, oh, like if you're filming something like this outside, they're like, oh, or like, do you have a YouTube channel? And then they're like, what's your channel? I want to see. And they look at the number of the followers in your channel, and they look at the numbers and immediately they judge or they evaluate, they label that person as someone who has more influence, more power. However, that is on a subconscious level right now, that, oh, I want to join your channel or join this and that. It's not because you resonate, you tune in. It's not based on intentions, but it's because you want to be part of that bigger gang, more powerful tribe, or popular person, or popular channel, or still that those ideas are very much commonplace right now. And a lot of the so-called influencers, they're doing a lot of things for in an old consciousness way. So they may have certain popularity, followers, but what I'm going to share is that this is just another fact, what is going on, like the phenomena at this time. But I'm not in a position to criticize that is bad or good, but that's just how the process is. That's how evolution is right now. And we just need to recognize it as fact rather than like labeling these things. But because when we do that, that's taking away our energy on negativity as well, is what I'm going to share. So when we look at it from a factual standpoint, that's what it is right now. And what we want to head is, how can we, that's another energy coming in, right? Giving structure to the new vision, the new ideas in the Mercurial season. How can we give new structures, new coding, new programming? These are the current codes, the current codings right now, current programming, the current facts. Now we need to work with this. So that's why consciousness is very key once again. Standing neutrality is very key right now. And if you're in the healing process of releasing a lot of negativity within yourself, continue to do so. Do not give up. And even though you may feel like you're all alone, and that's just part of the journey, but just to remind you once again, over and over, you're not alone. You're always watched out for, you're guided, you are loved. And for me personally, when I received the message that you are loved, it was very hard for me to receive that love or feel that love at the very early stage in my own journey of awakening, or like the last initiation, the dark night of the soul, because I never really received that kind of support in my life. I always had to be on my own, be my own fighter, survivor, right? So you may still feel that, but the constant reminder helps you. This kind of environment that creates this encourages you, right? You're not alone, you're supported, you're guided, you're loved, we're always here as well. These things, even though you may not feel it, it supports you energetically so much, creating that safe space while you're going through this dark tunnel where you have to, it's like you are falling into the abyss. And in that process, you're confused, you don't know, you can't see, right? You're afraid. You have to experience all of that. That's just part of the soul evolution. That's another big message, okay? So you have to fall to realize death is an illusion. You see? Because we never really die. In this lifetime, I died many times energetically, spiritually, you see? I had to rebirth myself many times, energetically, spiritually, you see what I mean? But I may look the same, but I'm not the same, you see? That's why a lot of times people say, you don't want to go back to the people you used to hang out or detach, because they have an image of you as that person that they used to know you as, and that's all they know. They think that that's you, but you're not that. You are a different you see? But they don't know that you're a different you. You only know you. And when you interact with new group of people, they interact with the new you. The old people who knew the old you, they don't see the new you. So they constantly treat you as the old you. You see what I mean? And there's gap. You do not resonate. And they now perhaps may not have control over you like they used to. As an example, as you leveling up, then now they're going to project more negativity. You see what I mean? So it's really important to cut ties and cut cords around any negativity around you as you're doing the healing work. And this process, for some people may be harder, for some people may be easier, depending on your personality type that you took on in this lifetime, the trauma signature that you have, the karmic ties that you're playing out with, the patterns that you've been embodying. It's all unique. So it all depends, but it needs to be done. It needs to be done. Because when these energies are together, when there are 5 people, one negative person comes in, they bring all these 5 people down. I've experienced it personally when I was in my last job, corporate job. We had a very well-known internship program. So as the team head, I used to recruit every quarter new students. So I interviewed thousands of students over the years, and then go through the interview process and all of that, and then you put together a team. Sometimes you need certain people like students, but depending on a season, you get more applicants, you get less applicants. And so sometimes you have to work with so-called labor force that's not top quality per se. And then you put together a team, you train them, and then one person starts to pull down on an energy. All these other team members, they start to perform together. This one person is dragging the energy down. So like in nature as well, like there's this fruit, and there's another rotten fruit. When they're in touch, the rotten fruit doesn't get fresh, but the fresh fruit starts to rot. You see, that's the nature of it in a symbolic sense. So it's very important who you surround yourself with, who you engage with, especially if you're going through that healing phase. And not just in that healing phase, but in everyday life. You need to, the word that is coming is constantly screen people out, screen situations out, because that's what we chose to participate in, this very chaotic time on Earth. And these energies, there's all sorts of different energies, very high vibrational to very low vibrational, predominantly very low vibrational. You see? So it's like you are the one navigating through. You see? You are the one who's in your driver's seat driving your car. And to learn how to drive through better, you have to train yourself. You have to learn certain parts in the car about yourself to maintain balance, right? Maintain vision, observance, keen insight, right? Sharpness, focus, to navigate through. And that's how this journey is. Whether you are in this phase, that phase, however it is, I'm just using these things as like communication purposes, right? So that is the message that is coming for me to share for Gaia's Ascension. So another rainbow bridge, meaning 2024 was a big year for a lot of individuals to sort of really wake up, because they had to go through some severe breakdown, is what I'm guided to share. Like their marriage broke down, their relationship especially, something happened in their work. A lot of catastrophic crisis was actually a blessing in disguise, is what I'm going to share. A lot of breaking off needed to happen, because those individuals on a soul level really chose to level up, really chose to wake up now, and they needed to break out of those things that no longer serve them purpose for their soul evolution. It could be soul contracts, it could be karmic contracts, certain karmic ties, soul ties to places, locations, jobs, persons, all sorts of these things is what is coming for me to share. So now, since the beginning of this year, they've been preparing January, February, building the momentum, coming to this point now. So whatever crisis that you experienced or you may be experiencing, I'm just talking in a collective general term. So that's just what I'm seeing, what I've been seeing happening in 2024 major. But still going on because you're given constant opportunities to wake yourself up on a soul level, to choose, like the Moses ark, whether to get on that ship or to stay with the old ship. Just like the Atlantis, an energy of Atlantis is coming through as I speak of Moses. Whether you are to discover the new land or stay stagnant or complacent with the old is what is coming. So that's the rainbow bridge. We are crossing the rainbow bridge. And there's this portal energy. And the dragon energy, the dragon portal has opened, as I shared when I was in Sydney, Australia last month. And the reason why the dragons are here is because they can penetrate such a deeper and deeper layer, more than the angelic realm, the angels can go into, and transmute all these negative energies out. So that's the significance of dragon realms coming into the earth grid in May. They're here working on, and you can work with the dragons. You can bring the dragons in to clear the energy of the land in your area. If you feel a dense place, you can visualize and bring them in and call them in to go into the earth and then clear the energy around, all the dense energies around that area. You could do this at your home too. You can clear the energy at your home or this entire apartment building or the building you live in. Clear the energy. And I've been doing this very heavily ever since I had that major initiation in 2018. While I was going through a lot of healing work, I worked almost every day with the dragons, clearing up the land in the apartment building. I was just doing this without what I was doing, but I just received the message that I kept doing it. So it's going to help you without you realizing it at the time. They're really there to support you energetically. And also, you know, if you're dealing with certain negative limiting beliefs or negativity in your mind. So for example, I lived with parents who are very negative. Very a lot of gaslighting happening, a lot of negativity, a lot of constant fighting and conflicts. And so these memories linger on, these voices of my mom, my dad, right? Energetically, I've been storing these energies, right? So the process of them releasing and cutting that energy off have been very difficult because I formed very strong attachment, emotional attachment to parents, as parents in this lifetime. You see what I mean? So for example, that could be one. And then and it's not who you are, but these programs run and you see something and you have these thoughts and opinions. And when you really go in and be aware and conscious and observe, you realize it was not your thing. It was how they used to talk, how they used to say, how they used to perceive that you took on. So you sweep that off. You see, so that's something that in the process of it, when you go into that negative energy on a subconscious or unconscious automatic level, because your vibration is in a lower vibration, it attracts the same. So there could be a lot of leeways is what is coming, that other lower energies could attach to you. So your vibration stays low, meaning they don't want you to feel free. They don't want you to feel high vibrational. You see, there are all these energies basically running around on Gaia at this time because of, you know, we lived through that age of darkness, still in. So just like that, you have to navigate through. You are the navigator. So it's like sometimes when those energies, usually also when you're about to level up, just before leveling up, clearing up some major energies, these things can happen as to, you know, you can perceive it in many different ways, test you or strengthen you, train you, however you resonate with these languages right now, will just take place on a factual level. You know, some may say it's from this or that. It could be, it could not be. It's all unique to everyone. So that's just how it is. And when you call in, you can call in fire dragons to burn away all these negative energies around, with that thought, you're also attaching to someone else's energies and so on and so forth. Energetically, cutting cords, clearing all this. And then dragon energy can really help you, especially fire dragon, to burn away all these lower vibrational energies in your auric field constantly. And then you can call in air dragons, for example, to blow away any debris, leftovers. You can do this in your home. You can do this in any place you're in. So that's how you can also work with the dragon energies very heavily right now. That can also support you. And you always want to thank the dragons. You always want to thank them for supporting and providing such support. Because you're not going to want to be like, oh, I want to benefit off of these dragons. I want to benefit off of the angels or archangels. I want to be benefit off of. You don't want to sit in that energy anymore. This energy of the mercurial crown activation is very high. Third eye crown, which I mentioned when I made the last video in Sydney, that a lot of people may have some sort of brain fog or like all this like physical symptoms, because energy is very high, especially very high crown chakra, third eye activation. So the more you clear out of that old way of in codependent negative energies, exploiting without you realizing, and once you're aware and you release it, your brain clears. Because your third eye is now open, it's no longer clouded and blocked by all these energies. Your crown is opening up, your aura is being cleansed. You're not in this, what is coming is like the spider web, as an analogy, that I've been receiving when I was in Sydney about a week or 2 weeks ago. So you're getting out of that web of programming, the matrix so-called. So the matrix represents the mother archetype, matrix, mother. Patterns represents the father archetype, the father pattern. So we are both working with the divine masculine, divine feminine. And so in line with that, you can also look into what you took on from your father in this lifetime, his belief system that was very limiting and negative, your mother that was very limiting and negative, codependent. You can also review and work with them as well, is what I'm going to share, so that you can get out of that old pattern, heal your divine masculine, and get out of that matrix and heal your those beliefs that locked you in. So is there anything else that you want me to share at this time? So they want me to share why I share all these like dancing videos, singing videos, and like self-expressive, like a little bit silly, goofy, or fun, let loose kind of videos. They seem to be not related to all these like ascension messages and blah blah blah. It's because that's who I am. That's what makes me feel joyful. That's when I feel really like having fun. And that's the energy we need. And that's going to help Kaya. For anyone resonating, it's going to help them. So another labels within this idea of spiritual or spiritual community, we say, for language, human language purposes, communication purposes, or someone spiritual, something spiritual. There are so many labels around that as well. If you are this, you have to do you are only to do this and do that. There are no boundaries, there are no limits. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever that you need to express and want to express, and whoever that you are in all different stages. You don't need permission from other people. You're not doing this to be popular. You're not doing this to impress others. You're doing this because you're sharing your joy simply. And that's what we need from people and individuals. And I don't know if I feel called to. I think I may continue to share many different things if I have different ideas. So that's the purpose, and we need more people doing this. But right now, a lot of people, and I know this, we lived very heavily with other people's opinions, how they perceive you, if not conscious, on a subconscious level, right? And all these numbers as powers, right? So if someone doesn't resonate, they don't, and it's okay. I only need people who resonate with me. And I'm more happy to connect with people who genuinely support and connect, rather than having a huge following. You see what I mean? So that's like the kind of a mindset that we need to embody, is what I'm going to share. And it takes a lot of work, and we may have to face a lot of fears on the way, some doubts, little voices from the old beliefs and patterns and programming. But despite that, continue to share your joy. You are free to do that whenever, wherever you deserve to feel that joy, right? We don't need to play small or play down or play for other people. That's the energy that we are moving into. It takes a lot of courage and strength at this time, and this very dual energies that we are living with, the consciousness. So the idea of spirituality, all these labels, there are no boundaries. You can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. And as you connect with that authentic energy, you're going to connect with souls and people who are genuinely meant for you. You will find them. And people who are not will fall away. And that's how it's going to work. And I'm not saying those people are bad and you're good. This is not about this kind of judgment. But that's just on a factual level how things are. Okay? So that when you connect with people that you resonate, that encourage each other, support sincerely, and really clap for you, cheer for you, laugh with you, cry with you, and lend their shoulders when you need one, is going to be very more loving, and it's going to be so much it's going to add to your energy, not take away, basically, you see. So we all want to be in that energy, whether you are still in a very negative state or you are in a different state. We all want to be, ultimately. So wherever you are, whatever that you may be dealing with right now, I'm sending you unconditional love with no judgment. And I want you to stay aware without judging, without shaming, guilting yourself. Look at the facts. It's okay. And don't be afraid to be bad at first, because there's no bad or good. It was just programming. Okay? you're a good girl, you're a bad girl, you're a good boy, you're a bad boy, right? It's okay to be you. Just look at the facts and work with them, continue to release, and sing your own joy. Create your own symphony, harmonic resonance. Create that music, new programming, new coding, new frequency. So we're not here to be spiritual. We are already a spirit in essence. And we are in this journey of remembrance right now, awakening. So right now, the key is to become more aware, become more conscious of the surroundings and things. So we create a new world, new earth, the new golden age, however you resonate with these terms at this time, your new timeline or a higher timeline, however you resonate. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. And then once again, wherever you are, do not give up. You are doing well. That's how you want to tell yourself. You want to be kind, patient with yourself. Give all the room you need to meander around, discover yourself, find yourself. It's okay. Okay? Just step on, continue on, move on. But just remember that we are now working with the brain of the heart, no longer here. So constantly tap in, tune in, practice following your heart. Despite and walk in that path of the unknown, that's the new consciousness, that is limitlessness, all possibilities. And with that consciousness, you're going to be able to generate feelings of inspiration and excitement for adventure rather than feel scared, feel hesitant, you see, feel withdrawn, going to overthinking. That's going to stop you, talk you out of some things that your heart wants to follow, you see. So that's the last message, and I hope this message, guidance, and all this helped you, supported you in any way. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.